And we are live. We're live to the world.
Hey, Facebook, how are you? We're getting started. We're going to let people in. Get started with the show. Welcome to Facebook Live. We'll be talking to you here as we go, but let us know who you are in the comments while we're getting the folks in here in the Zoom call.
Yep, and I'm going to let, we got a bunch of people in the waiting room, so I'm going to let them in. Here they come.
Howdy, folks. Welcome. I see some familiar names and faces. Welcome to the call. As always, please find the chat and let us know who you are, where you're from, how many kids you have, what you're dealing with. On Facebook, please do the same in the comments section. Let us know, yeah, just a little bit about where you're from. We like to just know, parts of the country that are represented, and maybe how many kids you have, if you're raising grandkids, foster kids, biological kids, just give us an idea what's going on for you. And we'd love to meet you or say hi to you again if you've been here before. We got anyone on Facebook yet? People joining us?
I am messaging folks. I'm not seeing people yet, so. Okay.
All right. How are things up in Michigan, Kevin?
Well, they are fantastic. We just got back. So, yeah. So just, everybody, me and my wife, we took a trip to South Carolina. And I performed a wedding ceremony. So that's what the primary reason we were there. And man, weddings right now in COVID are just so crazy. Bizarre. She was going to have 100 people at her wedding, our friend, and then turned into 40, and then it turned into 20, and then 14 people, social distance, like rented a house, everyone wearing masks. It was just it was weird. We did the best. We celebrated. We had a good time, but it was just a bizarre. Like more people were standing up in the wedding party than were sitting down in the seats, and so that was probably the most bizarre part.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. And then I wrote you in as the presidential for the election, Kevin. So I'm looking. I haven't seen whether how you're tracking.
I'm pretty sure I won a small province, probably in Canada. Is probably what.
Canada. Karen's here from Atlanta. I think Karen's been here before with 3 bio kids with trauma. Sue from Illinois, 2 adopted grands, 4 and 9. Donna from Erie, PA, 2 daughters, 21 in college, 10 that's adopted. Western Colorado, adopted son 15. I am flying to Colorado tomorrow.
Oh yeah, what part?
Denver area. Yeah.
We're about 5 hours away. We're on the quiet side.
You're on the quiet side. Yeah, I do. I'm a trainer for the Splunk Institute, which is a trauma training, and so they fly me out to help run the master's program for the people getting certified and everything. So it's a intense weekend. Fun stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Splunk now. Wonderful stuff.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. You probably, there's a lot of people out in Colorado that do that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Susan, a 9-year-old, major anger issues, ADHD, ODD. Joanne from California. There's our California connection.
Perfect. I was hoping for that.
When we have someone from California, things just go a lot smoother.
It's true.
That's true. About to officially adopt 2 grandchildren, 8 and 10. Awesome. We do get a lot of folks raising their grandkids here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a grandparent myself, so fortunately, I'm not currently raising any of my foster or my adopt or my. It's been a long day. My grandkids, but I still have 7 of my own kids in the home. So I'm in every stage of life at the same time. I just got out of the preschool stage. My youngest entered kindergarten, so I got elementary school, middle school, high school, college, adult, and grandkids. So. Debbie from St. Louis, fostered kids. son and wife are fostering, and work in a community with lots of trauma. Man, we all live in a world with a lot of trauma right now.
We do. We really do.
Oh, man. And our kids are suffering even more than us, I tell you. I mean, when I work with families and see, the parents are stressed, and, the kids are dealing with not only all the stuff going on in the world that they're dealing with, but then also the parent stress and all that going on. It's just a lot. So, all right. Where are we at here? 6, give a couple of minutes. Anyone checking in on Facebook yet? Or are they still?
They're watching. They're there. They're just not saying hello. So if you're on
Facebook folks, don't be shy. Tell us who you are.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're from, how many kids you have. We'd love to hear from you. If you do want to join us in the Zoom call where you can interact a little bit more, please let Kevin know, and he will send you a link. He'll just message that to you if you comment that you'd like that. You can do everything right there in Facebook, though. You can ask your questions in the comments, and Kevin will be reading that and all that. It'll be just fine. So if you've not been here before, Kevin is our do everything behind the scene tech guy that's going to be helping us out. And I'm Steve, if you haven't figured that out. Most of you have probably read my ebook at least. So you probably know, at least have heard of me if you're here.
We've got Emma Martin, who said hello on Facebook. So way
Hello,
to bring out
Emma.
the Facebookers. Fantastic.
All right. Hello, Emma. Anyone else want to join Emma and be bold and say hi?
And she has 4 kids, and she's coming to us from Fort Bragg, North Carolina right now.
North Carolina. Awesome.
Which is where I was. I was in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, and you were in Asheville.
Yeah, which is beautiful. Oh my goodness, the mountains there.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we first got married, we were moving south, and we looked at Asheville as one of the places. We ended up in Atlanta for a couple of years before moving back to Pennsylvania. But Asheville was a place we thought about settling down. Beautiful, beautiful area. Love it.
It's not too late, Steve. It's not too late.
It's too late to settle down, man. I will never settle down. I'm going to be hyped up and unsettled it's too late.
That's
too
fair.
old for that.
That's fair. Understandable.
Yeah.
You're too funny. Well, I think we've got most our folks, so why don't you kick us off and let's do this.
All right, we're gonna begin the content, but first we'd like to go to the Lord in prayer and just give this time to Him and just ask His blessing over this time. So, Lord, we do just give this to you. We thank you that we can even be here. We thank you that just in the midst of everything going on in our country, that you are still sovereign, that you are still in control. And we just thank you for that. We just pray that you would just bless this time. Pray that you would use my words in the conversation to bless each person here, each family represented, each child represented. And Lord, we just pray peace over each of the homes. And we pray that you would remove any distractions, anything that might be going on in any of the homes right now that would pull people away, anything going on, just even in people's minds that would distract or confuse or clutter. Lord, we just pray that you would just sift that all away. And Lord, we just pray that you would handle any spiritual warfare that's here to mess with us. And we pray that you would clear the path to your will being done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, I'm so excited about today's topic. We are going to be talking about attachment theory and a new paradigm and how we're going to look at parenting, especially for traumatized kids. So just set the framework again, as we always do, just to let you guys know about the dance model is something that if you have not already gotten and are not using, we just would love for you to dive into that and get the free ebook that you can get at our website, traumabasedchristianparenting.com, that Kevin will also be putting in the comments at some point. There's also a pay what you can afford course. So, man, if nothing else, get that thing and just start working on the dance model. It's just a communication strategy. It really just changes the communication and just starts to put a little bit of the flavor of what we do with trauma-based Christian parenting into your home with some of the shift in thinking, which we're going to actually be getting into today, and just some of the what goes into these models and the things that we do is all rooted in this attachment theory. So we're going to give you more information on that, as well as the comprehensive program that we have later on. I wanted to just let you know, if you do not have the dance model have not gotten that. Most of what we talk about tonight should make sense, but that will give you a little more information that will make it even pop a little bit more and be more practical for you. Okay, so when we're talking about a new paradigm, a new way of thinking about parenting for our traumatized kids, we can look at the old paradigm, which is traditional parenting, and actually there's lots of great uses for traditional parenting methods. We're not saying it's okay, throw it out completely, but for our traumatized kids, we're saying it's not the best option, and it really isn't as effective. So this traditional parenting is very behaviorally oriented, and it assumes some level of secure attachment. If you have a secure attachment and you work on behavior, the child trusts you enough to guide them, right? It was crazy. I was thinking about this today. We have a new therapy dog in training here at the office. He's a blind Aussie Doodle that we rescued from a puppy mill. And he is meeting with a trainer. And so today's training, she was teaching Samson, is his name, to walk on a leash, to be guided. And given his trauma of not being able to see, he has a real hard time because he doesn't have any spatial understanding. He doesn't quite trust us that we're not going to put him in harm's way. And so when he was in the area that we always take him out to kind of go potty, he was fine. Took him up into a parking lot. He's not used to that area, didn't know it, and did not trust the trainer to guide him. Would not follow the commands, would not do anything that she wanted him to do, would not go. She had the leash on her and was carrying him like a suitcase sometimes. It's like, and then she's like, he can't see, he doesn't understand his spatial, he doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust me in this area yet. We need to back off and do things differently. So it just got me thinking about that a little bit, and just a real vivid example of Samson just wouldn't trust her and wasn't going to do it, was not going to do it. So if Samson had not had the trauma of the puppy mill and being blind and all that, that area he would have been able to have some level of trust beyond what he does. In the new paradigm, we're going to shift to being attachment focused and looking at those relationships and creating security. So it's instead of assuming the secure attachment, it's going to be reparative. So it's going to look at repairing that insecure attachment so that trust can be there, so that some of our interventions can work. So that's really the foundation of what we do here. So let's talk a little bit about what an attachment is. An attachment is an enduring emotional tie to a special person characterized by the tendency to seek and maintain closeness, especially during times of stress. So this is typically for a child, the mother, right? From the moment a child is born, they have 9 months of connection to that mother that they are born to. And they begin to build trust, and that trust builds over time, and that attachment develops in a secure way. That becomes the formation of just how they see, the foundation of how they see the world and how they see relationships. Then as an adult, that typically will transfer to a spouse, or if not married, it can still be a parent or a friend, but that relationship shifts a little bit to a different person or a different nature of that relationship. And then from that foundation of that secure or in many cases insecure attachment, but that primary relationship, we begin to relate to others in ways that very much mirror that primary attachment relationship. And then our attachment to God is also related to that attachment style with others. So if I can't trust my primary caregiver, my primary attachment figure, it's hard to have healthy, secure relationships with others, and it's difficult to have healthy attachments to God. So that's how important this is. So we're going to look at a really awesome diagram to explain this. So basically, if you let's think about your typical toddler that goes into an unfamiliar place with a parent. So when someone like this little girl in this picture, or boy, I actually can't tell, curly-haired creature, is going to be right next to his or her mom, right? Or dad, whoever is that primary figure. That is the secure base, right? So if I go in with one of my kids, a toddler, they're right next to me. Once they start to sense from me signals that they are safe, they will trust me, they will have a felt security in that environment, they will begin to explore. They will have self-confidence. They will begin to explore because I have given that to them, that they can leave that secure base and they know that they're safe, and they'll be looking back, checking that the secure base is still there, but they'll be going off. And then some big scary guy like Kevin comes up and says, "Hey, how you doing?" And that is not, even if it's not in my mind a real threat, because I know that Kevin's just a teddy bear and he's not a threat to anybody, but my little 3-year-old thinks he's scary as heck, right? So it becomes a perceived threat. So he or she activates that attachment signaling, starts to signal, cry, seek, call my name, whatever, and then seek proximity. And then I become a safe haven to return to. Okay. And then I say, I know he looks scary. He's kind of ugly, but he's safe. He's okay. And then the child takes the cue for me that Kevin's okay, may even go over and talk to Kevin, has that felt security, will begin to play. Eventually I could leave my child with Kevin, would have that confidence, right? It creates that. And then if something else happens, would return to me. I would let them know if it's okay or not okay. If it's not okay, I'd be like, we're leaving, or stay with me, or whatever. Okay, so that's how that works. And if you think about that, in an infant's world, that happens multiple times a day, if not multiple times an hour, right? Something doesn't feel right, they cry, which is that signaling. They seek proximity by drawing the parent to them in that case, because they can't move. And then the parent is the safe haven, makes it okay, feeds them, changes their diaper, rocks them, whatever. And this goes on and on and on. If that is not the case for that child, though, insecure attachments emerge. So let's look at what can happen. If every time I as a child seek my parent as a safe haven and they're not there for me, they are consistently emotionally unavailable. So when I get to this perceived threat over here on the right, instead of seeking proximity because they're not there for me, I go back up to, I have to be confident in myself. So I become what we call avoidant. I avoid anyone else helping me. I begin to develop this belief that I have to take care of myself. I rely more heavily on myself. And there's varying degrees of how little I trust others. So I have two different arrows there. It might be mild, it can be severe, but I'm just not going to rely on others for things. I'm not going to trust others. So my view of others' ability to meet my needs are decreased. My view of myself is necessarily then increased because I have to believe that I can handle this because they're not there for me. They're not reliable. If, however, my parent is inconsistently available, we're going to go to the bottom now. So I seek proximity. Sometimes they're there for me, sometimes they're not. So what I learned from that is they can provide for me. They can meet my needs. They just don't always want to. So there's something wrong with me. I can't rely on myself because I don't know what's wrong with me or why they don't want to. So I have a decreased understanding of how I can meet my own needs, and an increased understanding of how my parents should be able to meet my needs, but they don't always want to. So that's an elevated view of others having to meet my needs. So it becomes this, like, I'm coaxing them into trying to meet my needs. It's this clinginess, it's this superficial reliance because I don't really trust it. So it's this over dependence, but it's more superficial. I have to coax them. I have to act out. I have to be clingy. I have to lure them into, because they don't really want to, because I'm not worthy. Okay. So that's the ambivalent, or what we call anxious attachment style. So I am always seeking, but never really fully receiving from others. And I cannot do it on my own. I cannot rely on myself. So those are the two, what we would call organized insecure attachment style. They're organized in the sense that I'm going to do this predictably, right? So I am predictably going to rely on myself. I'm predictably going to seek help from others, but not fully receive it and not really believe in it. So it's organized in that sense. It's predictable. If, however, I have a very severely abusive parent, or my trauma is so big, and even if my parent didn't cause it, they couldn't stop it, I become what we call disorganized, and I can't rely on myself. and I can't rely on others. So we have this decrease in reliance on self, decreased reliance on others. So it creates this huge void, this huge vacuum in my soul, in my relational system, right? And so these disorganized people, they are chaotic, right? They just go to extremes. Sometimes they will, just push you away in major ways and be like, I'm going to go live in a cardboard box. I'd be better off doing that. I actually had a client tell me that once. Or I'm going to attack my caregiver. I'm going to, do something to, coax them, or to, it's just going to be extreme. It's going to be chaotic. I can never quite get a grasp on it. You think you have a grasp on helping them, and then they're off somewhere else. Okay, so a lot of our traumatized kids can find themselves over here in this disorganized because of what happened prior to them coming to you. And if we don't repair that, they will never see you as a secure base or a safe haven. So maybe this would be good to, if you have any idea, just listen to this, or just a little speculation. Why don't you put in the comments or in the chat or in the comments on Facebook if you think your kids are more avoidant, more ambivalent, if you think you have a disorganized kid, if you think maybe your child's secure. Would love to kind of just get some feedback on, what kind of things you're seeing with your kids. And I know it's just kind of early in your understanding of this, so it might not be exact, but it's good to kind of think about, oh yeah, I'm seeing this in my kid, or I'm seeing this in my kid. I see this happening. I see, one of my kids is disorganized and the other is avoidant, that kind of thing. Sometimes what I have is the one who is more the clingy, like annoying kid, I guess you could say, is brought into counseling. More the ambivalent, or maybe the disorganized kid that's more chaotic or more of a drag on me comes into counseling. So I always ask about the other kids, and oftentimes I find that they also have an avoidant kid that is just not a problem because they think this kid is just self-reliant and wonderful, but they're just as insecure. Anyone commenting on there, Kevin, that you can?
I am not seeing anyone yet. I'm just getting it up on the Facebook though. I'm making it super
Okay.
cool. Like if you like the comment, then it means that, avoidant, or if it's a care comment, it's ambivalent, so people can.
Look at you being just super creative.
I'm trying. We'll see if I can make it work. So.
All right, so maybe we'll have people check in and we can discuss that as we go. But just thought that would be fun to maybe just have an idea. And it'll, as we go with this, and as you learn more about the program, and some tools that I'm going to give you later on, it might be solidify a little bit more.
And we've got Emma on Facebook letting us know that she sees disorganized and also can see where she has been avoidant. So this is helpful. She's starting to go, oh, this is how I've, my own stuff is coming out. So yeah.
All right. So she's ahead of the game, because we're going to talk a little bit about your own attachment styles too. So good job. Was that Emma you said? All right, Emma. Yeah. Emma gets the gold star today.
Oh, Emma, you win.
You win the attachment. Whatever, lottery. Okay, what else I want to say about this while we're doing that?
Also got Karen. I don't know if you're seeing in the comments here.
I don't have that up now.
She's seeing that. I'm seeing one child is avoidant, one's ambivalent and disorganized. The third one is too small, and then 3 plus 2. So disorganized plus ambivalent. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of them going on. So
got a mix.
That's got to be tough navigating a mix. We've got John saying he has one avoidant and one that's disorganized. So, and then Susan Owenson here, he's disorganized. Has one that attacking the caregiver, female mostly. It's disorganized. So
yeah. So here at least a couple of people with that disorganized or that more chaotic child, and then the avoidant one. And you probably can see a little bit of that dynamic play out, that it's just the tendency is to focus a lot on the chaotic one. The avoidant one, unfortunately, will sometimes suffer down the road for that. So we just want to give you a little nudge to make sure that you pay attention to that and not miss. It's easy to miss, some of the avoidant kind of issues.
We've got Corrine Wolf on Facebook as well. She says, "Me too, avoidant and disorganized." So that seems to be a common combo here. So.
Yeah, and that just sometimes happens in sibling groups, just with different temperaments, different personalities, different things, or just kind of evolves in a foster home or a, adoptive home sometimes. So, okay. So as we look at this, just to summarize, we have the secure. So of the four, there's one that's good, the secure. And then we have the avoidant and the ambivalent, which are organized styles. And then the disorganized, which is the chaotic. So just give you an idea, in studies they've done, about 50% of the population would generally be secure in their attachment style. Between 20 and 25% for each of the avoidant and ambivalent. One is, I think, 25 and one is 20. I can't remember which is which. I think it's 25 avoidant, 20 ambivalent, and then about 5% is disorganized. But we as parents with traumatized kids are dealing with that 5% quite a bit. Okay, so looking a little bit deeper, I want you as an assignment to find your attachment style. So sometimes we think we might be secure and we might be surprised to find out that we at least trend in one of the insecure directions. And it's interesting in this, when you do this assessment, it'll give you like a 4-quadrant, so you can see how far you are. A lot of times people, especially people that are avoidant, oftentimes think they're secure because they're just, I can do it. That feels secure to them, but it's really not. And so some people are surprised by that. But if you go to AuthenticHappiness.com and then you pull down the pull-down menu for, I think, questionnaires or assessments or something like that, and there's a close relationship questionnaire. You can fill that out. It'll give you a whole printout of your attachment style. One of the things that's kind of neat about this is you can save it. So you can get a login and you can save it. It's free. They don't, spam you with anything. It's just so you can go back and access your questionnaires. They have other ones you can do and play around with as well. But you can, okay, let's say I'm avoidant, right? I can go back in 6 months once I've done some work, once I've realized this, and take it again, and things do repair, things resolve, right? So we call that resolved secure, when your attachment resolves to a secure place. So that does happen. When I was brought up in a home that was consistently emotionally unavailable. I was avoidant, had to do a lot of work, especially in my relationships and my marriage, early on in the marriage, like realizing that, whoa, like I'm avoidant and you're ambivalent, and we got to resolve these, which we did to a large extent prior to taking in foster kids, so that we could have a secure home for them. So that's important, that you don't neglect what might be going on for you. This is not uncommon, especially for, let's just face it. I mean, a lot of times the reason we're getting into taking in foster kids, adopted kids, or maybe even have our grandkids, is because, maybe we had an insecure style, and maybe we went through some trauma ourselves at some point in our life, and we want to help others, but we have to make sure we take care of our own attachment wounds and resolve that. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave that content for now. Next time, we're gonna look a little bit at how to resolve some of those wounds and what to do with some of that. But I don't know. So we're going to be taking questions. Kevin's going to be going over just what we offer in the program and what's available. We try to offer a wide range of like free stuff like this, to pay what you can afford stuff, to a comprehensive program where we really kind of walk you through the whole thing and do ongoing coaching with you and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any questions about the content here, or questions about the dance model, if you've already been through that, or questions about the program, we'd love to answer that here tonight. And we'll do that maybe after Kevin goes through the programs. Sound like a plan? Okay.
So welcome everybody. And so, yeah, just to reiterate what Steve said, any questions you have on the content tonight, like I know I have a question of like, how do you navigate like combination of styles, especially amongst different children when they're both doing that. So that'll be my question, Steve, if no one asks the question, but feel free to steal that. But yeah, so we want to let you know, just with trauma-based Christian parenting, our goal is to equip parents to be able to help their hurting kids without having to become psychologists. We know there's a ton of stuff out there. There's lots of information. And so really for us, our mission is to be that one-stop shop where we do complete hand holding step by step on how to work through all of these things, because there's a lot to learn. If you don't know Steve's journey, he has gone through it. He has done all of the hard stuff, so that hopefully you don't have to. But if you're like me and you're super stubborn, you like to do things the hard way. But we do have a couple of things, just resources available too, that I'm gonna take 5 minutes here and kind of go over with you. But the first is the dance model course. So if you've been here before, you've heard this. This is not new to you, but if you're new, the dance model is one of our greatest fundamental tools on how to love and care for our hurting kids. And it kind of teaches what we've talked about. It's at this base root of this attachment theory. If you have kids that are not responding to traditional parenting tactics, this is a thing that's actually going to give them peace. It's going to give you peace, and it's going to give them rest. And so it's an 8-video series. We kind of break down. It's an acronym that we use. And so, and again, it is one of the many tools that we have within our full comprehensive program. So this 8-video series is just one of the 10 modules currently that are in our full comprehensive program. And that is done on a pay what you can afford basis. So I ask you just to pray about that, but it is available to you for wherever you can afford. So I'm dropping that. I dropped it in the Zoom chat. I'm dropping it again here on Facebook, but go get that. There's no reason to not have that. And that's a really great way to get to know us. And so the next thing that we have our trauma-based Christian parenting comprehensive program. This is the 10 module course. This is all of the tools that you're going to need. We take several modules just unpacking the attachment style because of its fundamental imperativeness to this entire model. And we do a lot of time, we spend a lot of time just setting up the foundation of what you need to know, because there's a lot of stuff that we have to unpack as parents. And then we get in some of the practices, and it's really the unification of all of that makes this beautiful. And again, it's this big comprehensive shift in mindset, because most traditional parenting is not effective for foster and adopted children, and so we have that offered for you. And so, how is it different? So if you're like, well, I get the dance course, what's different in the full program? So this is where we kind of, the dance course is like, here's the content, go for it. But if you get the full comprehensive program, we have real-time support. Steve is doing Zoom coaching calls all throughout the month. You're hearing from, so like this is more of like a teaching call. Our coaching calls are where you get to go and sit and go, hey, here's what's happening with little Lena. She's 5. She came from this family. I got a 13-year-old, and then I also have a 17-year-old. Here's what they're doing. This is super complex program, and you get to let all of that out. Let Steve wade through all of that, and then from there he can go, hey, you're going to want to go hit on that on the control module. That right now is probably going to be most beneficial for you. Go there. And this is where some of that comes into play. We're like, oh, great. This is my immediate problem. How do I start working on that? And as you're working through the course content, that's available to you. And then the great thing too is you get it for a lifetime. So I have heard Steve talk about this for going on almost 4 years now. Wow. And every time I do this, I learn something new. And every time I interact with a new child, I don't have kids of my own, but I've done youth pastoring, all of this. Every time I act with a new kid, I'm like, oh my goodness, I knew how to interact with them at 5. Now they're 13. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. And so as this is available to you forever, this never runs out. And so as those different issues pop up, you can continue to come back to the content and continue to unpack those things. The other thing we offer is a members only Facebook group. So when they're 5 and you're typing into the questions on Facebook, you're asking other parents for their feedback, you're just in that forever. And anytime you want, and you need that group, or you want to ask questions to parents, people are in there. That Steve is answering your questions, and again, you have access to that 24/7. So that's available to you. And then it's organic. So we are growing constantly. We're adding new modules. We are re-recording modules that as more research and data is coming out and we want to refine, this is happening on a regular basis. And so we're designing this to be a $997 kind of full course. I mean, you're getting weekly coaching, you're getting all of the content, you're getting access to the members group. But getting in at this point, as it's growing, it's a one-time lifetime payment. And once you're in, and you won't pay again. And so why we pitch it the way we do, why do we have coaching? Why do we have a members group? This is, parenting traumatized kids is more of an art than a science. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes failure, it takes debriefing, and it takes a community. Like most of you who love Jesus, you're probably part of a local church and a local community. Whatever you're doing, but particularly if you're following God, doing it in the midst of a community is super important. And that's why we have mentors. It's this discipleship process. It's this whole thing, but it's an art, right? I could teach you how to strum a guitar and what the note and the chord is, but how to shift in between those, how to really make music. It takes time, it takes coaching, it takes community, it takes work. And so we want to teach you this art. And so we've designed this program as such to do that for you. And so we have different offers that we've done over the course of trauma-based Christian parenting. We just recently had a whole batch of this, like last month. I think it was like 30 or 40 people came in. So we've been working really hard on getting them all set up and kind of expanding the infrastructure. But we are offering an offer. These offers change over time, and I'm going to drop in the website right now for you to get the full comprehensive program. If you want it, drop it into the chat in Zoom right now, dropping it into the chat on Facebook. But we're offering $100 off. Our course is $697, and we're going to knock $100 off, so it's $597. And then we're also going to give you a free startup session with Steve himself. So, and that's a $100 value. So you get to take all of Steve's time, and you get $100 off. And we find this has been most helpful with people kind of getting them up and running. He goes through the course with you and really just does an assessment. He's going to go, hey, where are your kids at? What's their impact right now? What are their specific parenting needs for your family situation? What are those specific steps that based on assessment that you need to do the first few weeks? And really that direction, right? And any recommendations to kind of fast track your success. So basically he's going to hear your story. He's going to hear your situation. He's going to listen to all the things that are going on, and they basically give you how to come out of the gate flying. And so that in the first 30 days, you're going, oh, thank you. This was so helpful. And so one of the things we offer, just to kind of take away any of those inhibitions and remove those barriers, is just we do a 90-day money back guarantee. If you've done 80% of the course in those 90 days, because we can see how far and what your percentage is of moving through the content. And if you've hopped on 3 coaching calls with Steve and it's just not working, hey, that's fine. No questions asked. We'll give you your money back if you're not completely 100% satisfied with what's going on. And so we want to offer that to you.
There you go. So there's what we have to offer.
Did it in 8 minutes. I didn't.
8 minutes.
5 minutes. I know. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're slipping. No, you did a great job. Great job. Awesome. Yeah, we're constantly, trying to balance being able to provide something for everyone, as well as, being effective. So we have the free stuff, we have the pay what you can afford. We try to, I was doing monthly coaching for people that was almost as much as the whole program is now. Just all that attention, doing intensives, all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, this is not super effective because you have me for this period of time and then that's it. So we repackaged it to both be more affordable, to meet people wherever they are in their budget and in their journey, and to be more effective. So we're trying to balance all that, and we've been even having some more discussions now about how to better balance that and do some other kinds of things, but that's for down the road. So that's where we're at with things, and we'd love for you guys to enter, whether it be just coming to these things and doing the pay what you can afford, and for some of you it's the right time to jump into the comprehensive program, and we'd love to have you do that. So what questions do we have?
Let's see. So I'm not seeing any questions. I think we're all experts on attachment theory. So um, so I'll ask my question first. We do have Susan asking about, do we have any members only coaching calls scheduled?
I'm going to schedule one for next week. I'm away. So this week I'm leaving tomorrow for Colorado for what, 4 days, 5 days, 4 days. So this week was a little crunch. So I'm going to schedule the next one next week and we'll go from there. Still trying to figure out the best times for everyone to be there. So that's one of the things we've been kind of playing around with. So if you're already a member, maybe you're seeing us try to do that and sometimes move those around. So that's where we're at right now. With that. So your question, Kevin, was, okay, so if you have different attachment styles, how do you kind of work with that simultaneously? Well, I mean, it's really, the first step is learning the content, that we just talked about now and being able to identify, where each kid is and being able to intentionally intervene into their world where they are. And so just one tip, and we'll be talking a little more about some of this next week when we talk about the attachment wounds and things like that. But just one kind of tool for that would be, so for the ambivalent person that is always seeking attention but never fully truly receiving it from me, I spend a lot of energy meeting superficial stuff. The key with them is to meet the need before they ask, so they see you wanting to meet it, that you care enough to, I see this need, I'm going to meet it before you seek it from me. And it throws them off because, wait, I didn't have to coax you into that. I didn't have to, and you did that, you wanted to do that. So kids that are always clinging, go up and just say, hey, I just wanted to give you a hug. It might be as simple as that. Or, something more complex if you see them struggling with something, help them out before they ask for it. And then, with the avoidant person, they're not going to ask. So you have to, really, seek them out when they should be asking. It's like almost coax that out of them. Like, hey, do you want to come to me for help? Almost like, bring them into asking that and trying to get them to see that it's okay to get that help. So kind of, with the ambivalent person, it's going to be tricky because they're always asking for help. So try to find that time when you can help them and initiate that to show them that you want to, and then find that time when the avoidant person should be seeking help and kind of coach them into, seeking that or asking you for
that. We've got Karen here asking about, can a child shift from a very insecure style to a secure style?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
That's,
that is the basis of our entire program, is that is what we're wanting to do. Yes. And so, and you'll see, like, so my oldest daughter, what's she, 28 now, has 3 kids, still makes a mess of her life sometimes, but she always knows she can come back to us. We function with her in a very secure way. She then occasionally will go off the rails again. But, very often she functions in a secure way with us. And she came to us as a teenager, spent several years not even able to be in the home because she was so violent, back and forth. And she was like severe trauma, very, very disorganized, insecure. And yeah, so and a lot of times it's you may notice almost like an accent, a relational accent, kind of like if you and attachment is very much like a language. So if my original language is not English, you may always be able to tell that, but functionally I will be able to communicate in English without any problems. So that's what a lot of times that looks like. My 18-year-old was really, even, it took years, and she's chose at 18 not to leave the home. She saved up money, she bought a car, she has enough money to do so, but she said, no, I need you guys to keep helping me. So this is just, I mean, just in my family, I can say, yes, that's happened multiple times.
Yeah. We've got Emma Martin on Facebook here. She says, so she has a few questions. Do the courses work for the military community is the first question. And I'll let you answer that before I talk about the other ones.
Does it work for what, military families?
Military families. She says, our family has went through a lot. I wish we would have services like this. But how does it apply to the military community? And I'm assuming, and Emma, feel free to chime in if I'm wrong, but lots of travel, being on the base. How does it work for people kind of on the move and maybe aren't always in the same place for a long time?
Yeah, so in a sense, you're kind of always, there's always a level of insecurity built into your family. Is that a fair characterization of maybe what we're looking at there? And that can happen in other ways as well, where, you know, you have a parent that's sick all the time, or other disruptions that are ongoing in the family. So when you have this ongoing kind of change or potential traumas or moves or things like that, this is helpful to maintain and to stop those things from becoming more trauma, more trauma on top of other traumas. So it's actually real effective for people who are kind of living an ongoing, you can even see that in some ways with the pandemic right now. A lot of us are in that ongoing kind of change and a little bit of chaos and stuff like this. So this is almost like an ongoing tune-up, that kind of thing, for that. In addition to, then being able to, if you don't keep on top of what's going on right now, it's hard to get to what happened previously. So the dance model, for example, is for that situation golden, because you're just always dancing and always kind of on top of what's going on right now with that. And then a lot of the other stuff will be able to, if I'm dancing all the time with what's going on, how you're experiencing these changes, then I can go into, the deeper stuff with some of the other modules. Is that the question, I guess?
Yeah, no, that's good. And her, and so she added a follow-up here. She said, the soldiers are really taught to be emotionally detached.
Yes. So you will find that, so say the one of the parents or both of the parents are that emotionally detached, almost like it's sort of avoidant. I mean, is what we kind of train soldiers to be, is that avoidant, although at the same time very secure with each other, right, like relying on each other. So there's a mix of stuff going on there. So the dance model, which really gets into the empathy, you'll find what I find whenever I work with families is that the parents find themselves doing it more and more with each other, almost dancing with each other, and that empathy of getting into that. And so for the one spouse that maybe is dealing with an emotionally distant military spouse, to use some of this with them just to keep them engaged, keep them emotionally connected to the family, can be helpful. And it also, teaching it to the the person that's in the military, being able to see how they can, okay, this is what I need to do here in this compartment in my life, and this is what I need to do here. And they're both, neither one of them's wrong. They're just different settings and different environments where I have to implement different skills. In the military, they can really understand that, okay, this is a skill set I need to use here. This is a skill set I need to use here. Being able to, but it is hard to compartmentalize the emotional stuff because sometimes they have to get so disconnected depending on what they're doing. But yeah, absolutely.
And then her final part of the question, she was just letting us know that she's starting a nonprofit, and that, and if, let's see, starting a nonprofit and would like to have partners and programs to help serve families. I'm assuming it's some of the military families, and love to see if that's possible. So I told her to fire you an email, and I gave her your email.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Great. All right. We got Sam Newman here. He's letting us know he's a counselor helping families. Do you offer trainings and materials for broader scope and community application?
We don't specifically, but I've talked to a lot of counselors about doing our trainings and then being able to apply that themselves to those settings. We don't offer like group programs or packages or workbooks or things like that, but it's certainly something that we do have on our radars, maybe something we would do. But you certainly can utilize our training with those groups, or if you want to shoot me an email and talk about ways we can do that, I'd be happy to engage with you on that, or even we can come up with a creative package that works for you, or and I have people that I had one guy bought the program and going through it and uses it in his just how he interacts and how he trains, and just like you can buy a book and use it to help you teach stuff, you can certainly use this material to help you teach things. And then we also can do things like if you refer people, we can give you discounts or things like that, or different creative things like that. So feel free to shoot me an email and we can talk about that further.
Great. All right, we got Karen here. She says, "What?" This is great. Lots of great realizations here. She says, "What do I do about the fact that I just realized I'm ambivalent?" And she's like, "And I need to help my kids." So how do you start to think through your own attachment style like that?
So well, first of all, that's the biggest step right there, is being able to say, whoa, wait a second, I got this going on. And be willing to, even, just further educate yourself. And our program certainly does that. There's some good books out there that will help you even from a Christian perspective. Tim Clinton and Gary Sipsey, Why You Do the Things You Do, is a fantastic book that helps you kind of unpack some of that for yourself. And then God Attachment helps you look at then how that impacts your relationship to God. So those would be two good resources just to be working through individually for yourself. I don't know. Kevin, would you be able to maybe just search for that and find a link to those? Why You Do the Things You Do, Tim Clinton.
Yep.
And God Attachment. Maybe we can throw those in there for people that want to do some further look at some stuff.
Yep. I will look those up and get them in the chat.
Okay, so Karen says she is a full member, and can we post the books? And yes, we will.
Yeah. All right, drop them in the chat. We got a question from I don't know if you can read it in there from Andrea. It's a bit longer. I could read it to you if that's helpful, or.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so I'll just read it. Our child is 15, cognitively very bright, physically very adept, agile, however, emotionally much younger. Yep, really super common. At times, perhaps 7, 8, 9, etc. Excellent using logic to bury people. Peacefulness, calm, and real nurturing is still pretty scary to him. He's been physical with me age 0 to 8 or 10. I'm not sure exactly what that means. What do you do with a child that is now, he's been physically with me. What do you do with a child now 15 who has no qualms with lying, stealing when he deems necessary? He wants to get better, get help is rather minimal. Husband now sees the reality of what he's doing, but husband is also in work mode due to our finances last 4 years. Sometimes our son does better. I'm a gray rock, but this is so tough, very complex. Sorry for so long-winded. No need to be sorry. Yeah, there's a lot there. We did do one of these free things on lying. Really, I mean, ideally, a lot of the things that we do in the comprehensive program are gonna walk you through a lot of that. Really just learning the dance model would be key to taking some of the edge off that, and maybe going to watching the lying one if you weren't present for that one. And that's on our website under the blog, right? We can, there's one on lying that would unpack a little bit of that. too much to get into now to obviously teach all of that. But I think you'd find the dance model, if you don't already have that, to be, oh, he's been physical with me, meaning hitting, kicking. Okay. I was misunderstanding that sentence. So there is some physical violence. Yeah, so that just, if you have a 15-year-old that's being physical with you, and if you do have any other children in the home, that's, we never, you never, you can't help people by being their punching bag. We need to get them, that child some help. Okay, no other children, she said. So, but even you need to be safe. And I never want kids out of the home, but if we can't get a kid safe, we need to get some interventions, some community interventions in there, something to just deal with that behavior to make, help you be safe. Because our program will certainly help you work towards that through your communication and working on, that, but I'm talking about an immediate, what do I do if right now I'm in danger? I'm not gonna, lie to you and say, well, dancing with them is gonna keep them from hitting you. It's just, it's not reality when you're dealing with that kind of extreme stuff. And so you may need some community interventions to help you, be able to navigate some of that. But so the long answer, would be to really get into the program and begin working that, especially the dance model, and learning about some strategies for the lying and some of those behaviors to take you out of that chaos. We got the stress model that will help you be able to not react, and not help that, but reacting. Okay, so I need to avoid reacting in any number of ways, from engaging in the battle, to trying to avoid anything that would trigger. We can't walk on eggshells and fix things. So some of those models in the comprehensive program would help you analyze a lot of that. How do I balance some of that? But I guess what I would say is make sure you have the community resources in place to keep you safe. Interventions, if it be a crisis intervention, things like that. And really begin to work the dance model with him. And I think you'll see that some of those things will begin to fade, sometimes very quickly, because we're changing the program so much in that communication, it can work fairly quickly. Okay, so Kevin did put the thing on the coaching session on lying there. That would be good to do. Mm-hmm. I did have just a private message about whether or not we offer any one-on-one sessions. We do have, I currently don't offer one-on-one coaching, but we do have the coaching in the comprehensive programming, a program that sometimes is very small number of people. So you get some personalized attention there. We do have someone that's starting with us that we're in the process of training that's going to do a lot of individual coaching. Her name is Mia. So if you wanted to, and she does coaching and counseling, and she would be able to do one-on-one work with individuals if they're interested. So what else we got? Anything else, Kevin?
I'm not seeing anything else on Facebook. Andrew says thanks. He's still struggled hugely with anything. That's my idea, of course.
Yes. Oh, there's so many good resources in the comprehensive program. We help. We're actually going to do a little bit on that, but a lot more in the comprehensive program on just empowering kids to help them be in control of their lives. So important, because the traditional parenting makes them feel like you're trying to control them. And our goal is to, I want the kids that I work with, I want my kids, I want your kids that we work with, I want them to realize that they are ridiculously in control of their life. That we are giving them the power to decide which way things go. And we do that in a lot of real creative and it can be sometimes kind of complex in how we frame that. But we talk about all of that in a comprehensive program about how to empower kids and give them control, because they want to control us, and we take that away. We take them away, the ability for them to control the structure and the rules, and we no longer react to them trying to change us or change the rules, and we empower them that the only thing they can control is themselves. And if they want things to change, we want to empower them to make that change and take away their ability to feel in control of everything else.
That's good. That's really good. I think that is it as far as questions go. We just getting an amen, love it from Kimberly Mahurin, and if I said that last name wrong, I apologize. So thank you for that, Kimberly. But yeah, and so just so you know, I've dropped a ton of links in the chat. So if there is a link that you want, I recommend going, you maybe open up a Word doc on your computer, you can copy and paste them, but I would grab any of those links because they will disappear when this chat's done. Also, if you want to go to a place where I've been also putting this all up on the Facebook Live, which will stay on our Facebook page. So if you go to Facebook and you just type in trauma-based Christian parenting, you'll see the latest posts from us. All of these links will be there as well and available to you. So if you know, oh, I don't have time to write them down, know that they'll be there. And yeah, and with that, I'll pray for us and close us for tonight. So let me
Thanks, Kip.
let me do that. Heavenly Father, Lord, we are so thankful that you are so faithful. Lord, it's interesting to think through all this attachment theory content and to really think about how do I relate to authority figures and parents in my life? How do I relate to you, Lord? And so, Lord, I pray, I believe firmly, and we believe firmly here at Trauma-Based Christian Parenting, that you want to do a work in us before you want to do a work through us, and that you're way more interested in our relationship with you, and that is the overflow, and that is the key shift that you want to make in us as we pour into others, including our own children. And so, Lord, as we think through this, I just pray you give us humility to consider that, open our eyes and our ears to you and what you want to share with us as far as our own attachments go. And Lord, help us, Lord, to have to remember the language around that, to see when our kids are disorganized or organized, when they're avoidant or they're ambivalent, and so that we can know and go, oh, I see what's going on here. And Lord, give us fresh eyes to see when our kids do that they're not doing it because they're mean or they hate us. They're literally doing it because they have no other idea on how to function in that moment. And they're literally trying to do the best that they can. So Father, give us the grace to see them differently, and give us the grace to have with ourselves when we fail and we don't see them differently. And so, Father, I pray that you would empower our parenting as we continue to move forward. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
And thank you guys for giving us this hour and spending this with us. We love having you, and hopefully we'll see you maybe next week, or we'll see some of you in the comprehensive program. Some of you are there already, I know. So we'll see you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.